The Hoosier Triplets, a trio of Indiana authors road tripping through the romance genre and sharing what we love and learn. Welcome to our podcast.
Hello, welcome to Hoosier Trips. We're talking AI today.
Are we scared of it?
Okay, well, I did grow up on, Skynet, okay?
Oh, yes.
And all of the things where technology becomes too big and, takes over and turns against humanity because we're so evil. Mm-hmm. So I do have some issues with that.
Do you have a friend named Sarah Connor?
I don't. Not yet.
Do you take your kid to the park ever?
And I rattled the chain link fence.
Well, okay, so geeking out on sci-fi here, Man versus Machine is a huge sci-fi, trope, storyline, conflict, and it usually doesn't turn out well, in science fiction. So the whole, and because I'm old and crotchety, the thought of having a computer program, do writing that I feel is something that requires soul and heart and life experience. I'm not necessarily thrilled with the idea.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified for all the reasons spoken here, but I'm also terrified because to me, we have these teens and tweens, they're always looking for a faster, easier, cleaner way of doing things. And my God, AI is it. Now, I will say this, on Amazon, the AI has no clue what I want in my cart. And they give horrible suggestions. I'm like, well, who the hell would want this? This is stupid. And I'm not paying $300.
You do know sometimes it's if people send you links for Amazon that will affect your algorithm.
I don't get
I'm totally sending her butt plug.
Yeah, start sending me really. But yeah, I mean, okay. So right now, people, you want to get some authors heated. You talk about AI because in the author world, it is a hot button topic. There's whispers that certain companies, Apple, stole from authors to train their AI. There are people that will die on that sword. There are others that claim that could never happen. There's all kinds of nefarious NDA signings out there that people can't talk about how things are trained. It's scary, and I agree 100% with Ava about the, if you can string words, if a computer can string words together, it can write a book. And that terrifies me because, and then all we have to do is train the next generation that those books are easier to read or better to read. Mm-hmm. And then, thousands of years of literature is gone. Mm-hmm.
So your worry is more on the overall, not because AI can't write in your voice, but it's the loss of light. No, I like that. That's actually a bit of a different take on it than what I have been. Thank you for giving me that new fear. I needed something else.
Right? I need something else.
Yeah, and I will be honest. So I've got teens in the school system, and I substitute teach. And I know my daughter, she had to do. So they were doing it was history, but they were doing it as an infomercial. And in the group, one of the gals did the script, and my daughter's like, yeah, I think she just did Chat GP or whatever it is. So it was IA rather than them putting the brain power to actually write their own script. Well, so then long term for humanity, if all we're ever doing is depending on IA, who is the next generation that's going to then be able to figure out new technology if the current generation is just depending on the technology now?
And I don't know this question. I didn't come prepared. I didn't research too much, but we know that a lot of the tech CEOs like Bill Gates and his name is not Steve. His name is not Steve Apple, but
Bill Gates?
No, the Apple.
Okay.
They would set really tough limits with their kids on technology, because, and I mean, there's medical data and scientific data about how bad screen time is for kids, for their attention span, for like their prefrontal cortex, for like their brains developing. Going to AI, is this making it another step further? I mean, are we trying to take literacy from the serfs here?
According to the vampires, the blood bags will stop being able to think because they won't have to think.
Well, then even better for the blood, you know,
The vampires.
the vampires who need the blood bags.
But yeah, I mean, you know, that's, you know, let me hit the panic alarm. But I as an author right now, we've seen the art, the AI for cover art, and I think overall we've decided as a group it's not good. Like the extra hand is kind of weird. The, you know, how did that foot get 8 toes? And
Why does the baby have abs?
you know, I think we've found it, and I know that there are cover artists out there that are using it for many, many reasons. Cost saving, because, you know, if it takes you only 25 minutes to pull together the artwork as opposed to 5 hours, you know, but it's not the same, and to me right now it's not as good. Ask me in a year, it probably will be.
Well, it's a slippery slope, like anything else with new, like regulating it. It's, I mean, if a cover designer is wanting to use AI for a cover, that's, you know, would be within their means. But me, I think, you know, copyright and making sure that, like, even with stock graphics, you know, you buy the rights, you know, for, or original graphics, but how are you sure that your AI is getting things from the places that they're supposed to legally have access to?
I mean, because let's be honest, a dark-haired man wearing a Stetson with a rope over his shoulder, I mean, who owns the rights to that? It's an incredible, and we know that the laws are always lag behind, and especially with technology, they certainly lag behind. I don't know about you all, but in the last 2 months, I'm getting multiple emails weekly from companies that want to use AI to do audiobooks for me. And we all know the story of why I only have one audiobook, because my books are very big and they cost a lot of money, and it's dual narrators. I just got an estimate for a book that would cost me almost $7,000 to have done by AI, dual $1,000, and they could have it to me in a week. Now, am I going to jump on that train at this point? No, I'm not. Is somebody else? Absolutely. Absolutely. And and then, you know, and then we get into the whole thing. Do people care? Are the reader listeners, are they going to care? I don't know. It's scary. And then I just read this impassioned plea in a post on Instagram, or maybe Facebook, I don't know. Facebook.
Meta.
Yeah, Meta. Thank you, Mark. And it was like, you know, first it's going to be the narrators, that they're going to lose their jobs. Then it's going to be the artists. Then it's going to be the writers, blah, 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 blah. I support that. But I don't know how to make it stop, because we are driven by the dollar. And, you know, if I'm looking at the cost between $7,000 and $1,000,
That's huge.
yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. Am I being fiscally stupid and standing on my soapbox? That I'm going to end up getting screwed, because now everybody else is going to surpass me, because they're like, screw, I can't fight this.
I think it's an equally shared responsibility between, you know, us as the authors, the vendors, and the consumers, because Kindle, I know they did have text to speak, or so you could get your Kindle, I don't know, to do it in the app to read you a book. So maybe if you were more of an audiobook reader, which I do count that as reading, you're still consuming the book.
Well, let's look from a consumer standpoint. Are they going to care? I don't think they will. I mean, way back in the, 50s or 60s, when TV dinners first came out and saved housewives all that effort to make dinner, you know, and look at what, you know, dinners have become. So like even in the food industry, you know, we have given up quality and nutritiousness for convenience. I just think that I think the
consumer. Doritos are so good.
I know.
Oh man.
You know that they can be used in emergencies for fire starter.
Really?
Yeah.
Any kind, or just like the hot spicy ones?
I usually keep.
I'm a Cool Ranch.
I'm a Cool Ranch gal.
Cool
so,
Ranch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
It's just people are gonna shop with their dollars, and when they can get it cheaper and it's comparable or not, and then I even have that question when I know that another author has written a book and I don't feel like it's up to snuff, and it's like, okay, but it's getting all these reviews and she's top of the charts and all that stuff, and assuming it's a she, and it's like, okay, so apparently what I feel is the litmus test. Everybody else is like, no, this is fine, I'm cool with it.
Well, for years we've heard from readers, why isn't this an audio? I want an audiobook. And you say it's cost prohibitive. And they're like, but you make a lot of money. So, still there's that disconnect. Nobody has any clue how much it costs to produce a book, how much we actually get paid, pennies, on a book.
Pennies on the word. It's not even pennies on the word. It's like percentages of pennies.
Yeah. So, and so if there is a way to get our work out to the masses, and it's not going to cost us very much. I don't have an MBA, but I can pretty much see where this is going. People are going to jump on that train.
And you're going to have a lot of newcomers to the industry that don't have the connections, that maybe don't know that, oh, this is such a great deal. They don't realize the impact it's going to have on, taking jobs from narrators or cover designers.
They never watched Terminator, so they don't have that.
Yeah, they're too young for Skynet.
I don't. But did you guys were there the remote control TVs? Do you remember a time when there was not remote? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I was the remote control.
My job. Okay, so I was alive when when that was done, and then my job when I was at any relatives and at our house, my job was to change the channels. That was my job. And
fortunately, there were only 3 channels.
Yeah,
but
and we would go to my grandparents in Columbus, Ohio, and they had this. It looked like a huge garage door opener, and they clipped it, and the channels changed. And I was kind of like, well, what do this was this was what I did at their house. Now my job is gone. And, but I think now, especially with kids and teenagers, they're so tied to anything, the web, the net, the machine, that it's all good. There's no that's how it's done. There's no other way they've lived. So they don't see,
Could you imagine they would die if they had to walk the 2 feet to the TV?
What if they had to stand and hold the rabbit ear? Did you have to do that ever?
No.
Okay.
I grew up in the late 80s into the 90s. We were just poor. Didn't have a remote for a while.
Well, no, your people are probably every year it goes down $180. I'm not spending any money.
We were I grew up on a farm, so there wasn't a lot of TV time, but I do remember you gotta learn your numbers. Go to channel 12.
Yep. Oh my God! So is that the truth? We were just in Orlando.
So you're gonna I could count up to 12 because that's
we had 64 and 48. So
okay.
yeah.
So we were just in Orlando, and Mike is like, "Remember 42? Wrestling's gonna be on 42." Anyway,
because they're different than what.
And there's no guide, and I'm asked whatever the in-room. Hey Disney, what channel is AEW wrestling on? It would not tell me. So I'm trying to Google it, and I can't. I'm getting super. And he's just like, I'm just gonna have to go through the entire guide. And I'm like, oh my God, we are so spoiled. But it's tough, but yeah, I think the cost or lack of cost is gonna be, the way.
It definitely, I think, is gonna sway a lot of authors to accept it, even as there are so many of us who are just absolutely against AI for moral reasons. What's your morality worth?
Well,
you said, if you don't, then get on.
As far as the narrators, let's go. Who's going to blink first? I remember when narrators got $30 an hour, a word, whatever, hour of word. Well, now, they won't even get out of bed for that. But, so now are some going to come out and be like, I sit in a soundproof room and I read. Should I really be charging, $400 an hour?
And then what's the livable wage there? Right. And
well, should that be though, or should that be looked at as just like a part-time pickup job? Maybe it's not going to be.
Yeah. And these aren't necessarily our opinions. These are
right.
us discussing.
Same way with the editors. Should editors be charging, 8 cents a word or whatever it is that we were recently quoted,
$1
when Grammarly does, the work.
But it's also, everything is worth what somebody is willing to pay for it. So, the consumer really does have a lot of say and sway and where things go. From a legal aspect, there's just so many unknowns because AI is still so new. Intellectual property rights are so vague. That's like a whole specialty in the legal field.
And especially trying to prove that somebody used your work for AI to help train AI. Like, how would you even prove that?
Yeah.
That was part of this discussion group I saw, and I was like, "Stop getting on the fields. I want to know her proof. I want to know, And she did not get she did not take the platform to explain it. I think if I remember correctly, she found what not Amazon, the other one. What they were using to advertise were sentences or long phrases from her books. Now that's how she was attributing it. Now, I gotta say somebody worked really hard to pull all that together, and God bless her, and I hope somehow she gets hers back. But I don't know. It's scary. Do I think the machines will be ruling the earth? The machines and vampires.
Well, I sometimes tease that our alien robot overlords are, we're just a social experiment for them. So
could the vampires be the aliens?
There's a lot of aliens out there that I think could possibly be in on this social.
I'm sure they're more interested in that than probing. It's been done before, unless it's a last minute baking.
Hoping for the probing.
Unless they enjoy, they feed off the fear and the adrenaline, the probing.
Well, yeah. I got the draft to digital.
I'm like, where does that go with probing?
I'm going back on topic. I got the draft to digital survey about the AI and would I ever consider letting my books be used for AI training, and if I would, do I consider it do I have an ethical issue with it? How much would it be? And I wanted for me, I said no. I had an ethical issue with it, but if it would have to be done, my compensation, I think the highest package was $10,000 and up, and my explanation for that would be because as an author, if I'm relinquishing this to AI, I feel like I'm basically giving up my copyright, and I have to be compensated for what this could earn indefinitely throughout my lifetime, the 30 years.
That's nothing. You should add at least 4 zeros onto it.
Well, I think it was like a 10. I think it was 10,000 and plus or whatever it was, because I feel like that is the risk that you would have to run to do that. So I was happy with them when they said that they weren't going to offer the AI training.
Because if they can write a book with AI, they can write it so much faster than any human, even the ones who, write a book a day, like Becca Jameson, faster than they can write, which means,
how does she do that? Ride roller coasters, to go on cruises, and drink all that beer?
I know. She's a machine. Oh,
maybe
so
it's all
jealous.
that purple hair color.
It is.
Ooh, purple power.
Gonna go dye my hair and we'll find out. But it's just so then we talk about how the market is already flooded with so many, because now with ebooks never go away. They're just always out there. So it's not like your book's good for a year and then it's off the shelves. It's always out there. So we just keep adding on to the pile, and with AI, it's just going to get added on to even more. So it's just
and it's going to cost them nothing to produce.
Nothing to produce.
No time. So what's 10?
I know they're not going to send it to an editor. So
well, and then to what end though? So where does the money go? To whoever is doing the AI. Maybe I'm naive in thinking I don't feel threatened personally. AI is going to write in my voice. I know that that's a possibility, and it could. Maybe I feel like I'm small fish enough that I wouldn't be the one that would be targeted, but then I also would be the one without the capital to fight it too, or necessarily the
Or
resources.
the tools to know that it's happening until
Yeah.
it's too late. Because to me, I think at some point the argument will be when it's found that AI has stolen a storyline or something. It's going to be, well, that was out there for 5 years. How did you? That's too much time. So.
Let me say that there's like the same 7 storylines that get repeated, but
Yeah, I'm not even looking at it from a AI somehow using my my books, my stories to better itself, but just the fact that it's so easy to produce that then it becomes stiff competition for me. And this this messenger group that I'm in, every once in a while they'll get talking about it, and somebody's husband so this is like 7 degrees of separation, but somebody's husband is like an Uber driver on a college campus, and he listens to the college students talking about how they produce, AI erotica just to make bank, and they're making like 20 grand a year or something on like something that takes them absolutely no time or any brain power. And here I am like slogging away. I'm on my little short story over 3 months, like, so.
It's a brave new world out there, kiddies.
It is. Unfortunately, some of us old timers are going to get
well, and how is that going to impact with copyright? And I mean, is it going to become a time where maybe can you not get a copyright if you've used AI? Should you be able to get a copyright?
And how would you prove? How could they prove that you used AI? You would have to admit it.
Yeah.
And the laws are always 10 steps behind the technology.
Yeah. So share your thoughts.
Yeah,
Comment below.
What are your thoughts on AI? One of the things that I like about the industry is how supportive we are. So it does feel like I don't want to support AI in, narration or writing or cover art, because the vendors that I have for those, I want to keep supporting them. But
that you don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, but
I mean, you have to look at your bottom line too.
Yeah, again, it's also a business, so it's
because let's be honest, nobody gets paid for their loyalty, or very few people have ever been rewarded well for their loyalty.
I think AI has the capacity to be a very powerful tool for helping. I know
doctors.
I was going to say everything seems like it has an AI assistant with it now. Canva, Pro Writing Aid, all of all this stuff. But I don't know that I like it, and I'm like, is it just because I'm old? I don't like the new things.
So
like, get off my lawn!
No, I think it's because of Skynet. It wrecked us.
I think that's got a lot.
Well,
to do
it
with
is kind of. I mean,
yeah.
We're getting self-driving cars, and Okay.
Comment below.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, comment, subscribe.